Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting and inspiring episode of On Location with Zara Durrani. I'm your host, Zara, produced with the support of Tell a Story Hive. Currently, we're in the heart of Kitsilano at the beautiful vegan restaurant, Folk Restaurant, which also happens to be a Michelin restaurant. They certainly have beautiful artwork here, and you'll have to come take a look. Today, we're here on their day off, and joining me today is someone who's been in the denim industry, in the fashion industry for over 35 years. He's the founder of Jude Denim. I'm talking about none other than Jude Neal Diaz. How are you? Welcome.
Good.
Thanks for coming out and joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Are you wearing Jude denim, Jude? I'm sorry, am I putting you on the spot?
No, I am. I love wearing my clothes. That's the only way I can tell how good it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I make stuff. I'm actually the fit model for my size 32.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do live fittings, it's me who gets into those pants to adjust the fits. So yeah, we probably have the best fit in the industry right now.
Okay. Well, let's back up a little bit. Like with everyone who joins us on the show, I like to talk about how they actually got in the industry that they're in, that they're excelling in. So talk about your beginnings. Like, how did you get into the denim industry?
It's funny, honestly. The industry chose me. If I tell you a little bit about my background, I graduated in physics. I wanted to go into nuclear science. So I have a degree in physics, but lo and behold, I'm here in the textile industry. So I didn't really have a calling in the sense that I was chosen, that I chose it, but it just pulled it out of me. You know, one thing led to the other, and I ended up making jeans.
Brilliant. So you've been in the industry for 35 years, worked with many other brands before starting your own Jude denim brand. So tell us a bit about that experience, because I'm sure you have some stories to tell us.
Yeah, so I mean, this goes back 30 years. I mean, I moved to Canada. I started out in the textile industry in India when I was in my late teens, about 20s. Worked with one of India's biggest groups, the Tata Group.
Oh, I'm very familiar,
Yeah,
yes.
and I ran a lot of the textile operations for the textile division. And it was pretty much mechanistic. When you get into the textile industry, it's numbers, it's technology, it's not much of the creative side of things. You're just dealing with very technical stuff. Then I moved to Canada, and then I got exposure to the Los Angeles denim market, which is where all the icons or the legends of denim like Adriano Goldschmidt and every one of them operate. So I started working there, worked in the laundries, and back then, you know, we were called the alchemists. There was a term for us, where we were the guys who took a seemingly black fabric and turned beautiful masterpieces out of them with wash techniques, different kinds of treatments from acid wash to stone wash. And we created some really beautiful products. I pioneered with a lot of the other legends some great washes with acid washing. And this thing just took off. And when it got commercial, mass market, fast fashion, a lot of that artistry got left behind.
So you were working in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that experience like working in LA?
Great.
Is this in the 90s, in the
Yeah,
2000s?
yeah.
Okay.
And it was great. I mean, Los Angeles is a crucible for playing around with new technologies, new processes. People are dynamic there, so no one shies away from trying something out. And so that gave us a lot of opportunity to test new
Yeah.
techniques.
Love that. So where did the inspiration, obviously it makes sense to me that because you were working with different brands, are you able to name a few?
I'd rather not focus
Okay,
on
no
Jude
worries.
denim right
For
now.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, just for our audience, because our audience is always, fascinated to hear what other brands.
Well, Canadian brands like Club Monaco, we did
Okay.
a ton of work for them. We still do a lot of work for some of the big mass market brands in Canada,
Okay.
like Bootlegger and
Really?
yeah.
See, that information is fascinating because of course, I see the name Jude Denim when I'm going through Yaletown or Gastown. You're carried in different men's stores, but perhaps someone else out there who's watching the show who maybe doesn't live in Vancouver and Yaletown, who is familiar with those other brands, then they would know that your work is involved with those brands. So that is interesting.
Yeah, it's just at a different level.
Yeah.
Bootlegger is commercial mainstream. We make jeans, we make it for them.
Yeah.
But Jude Denim is on a whole new level.
So whenever I have any guest on the show, we like to focus on sort of their full journey. Like earlier, we have like a filmmaker and they're doing a tech app and they've won awards and worked on many different projects. So we like to cover everything to give someone a full picture view of what someone is doing.
We even Mark's Work Wells.
Amazing.
Their Denver Hayes collection of jeans, we worked on those.
Wow.
So Roots Canada, there's a whole number of clients that I've worked with.
So after working with them for years on years, because
Yeah.
you've been in the denim industry for so long, for several decades,
Yeah.
so that led to you wanting to start your own brand with the name Jude Denim. By the way, I don't know if I told you this already, I love the name Jude because I'm also a big Beatles fan.
Right,
So
the song, Hey
yeah,
Jude.
it's actually, that song is one of my karaoke songs.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Okay. It's my favorite karaoke song, yet at the same time, I'm not really good at singing. So if you're going to put me on the spot or ask me to sing, some glass is going to break here. So tell us about Jude Denim and how long has Jude Denim been around for and where did the inspiration come from to start your own brand?
So Jude Denim started just before COVID, somewhere in 2018. Prior to that, I was dabbling with new stuff. But it spawned when a number of my peers told me, hey, take that skill and go out there and start something on your own. Then COVID hit, so things slowed down quite a bit. But I was then fixated on the idea of bringing that artistry back. The work that I did in the past, that was pretty much put to the side because everything was fast fashion. Everything, you go to a client, like I work with Club Monaco, with all these brands, they just tell you, we want this, and we'll make it and give it to them. So you're just being really told what to do. And
There's no like artistry, there's no, you have to do exactly what you're told.
yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what the industry wants. They follow trends, and what's the hottest trend is what we got to replicate and produce it in mass. And fastest way to the market is what wins, the big business. So I was doing that for a long time, but I just got really tired at this point, and I thought, what happened to that artist? The people that I used to work with and myself, we used to have a lot of skill. So I wanted to bring that back. I saw it happening in Canada too. We had a lot of factories here. A lot of the factories started winding down over these last 10, 15 years. And everything got farmed out to China and Asia. And I thought, I wanted to bring that home. We have a lot of skilled people here from the past who don't have a place to express their identity. So with that, I started a small factory in Surrey.
Amazing.
And I just believed in it. I know it's tough. It's really tough to bring technology back. But it's doable and I believe in it. So one step at a time, I'm trying to bring it home.
So sustainability is something that you're truly passionate about.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
So I live in probably one of the best places on the planet. When I look out my backyard from my house, I see a beautiful arboreal forest continuously, till you're as far as your eyes can go. So I think when I travel around the world, I see what's happening everywhere, and I kind of have a frame of reference that this is probably the last bastion of greenery, and how important it is for us as custodians to protect this. So everything we do with Jude Denim has to do with making it sustainable and responsible. Um, I choose the best denim from Italy. I work with Italian denim makers. I work with Japanese denim makers. I work with people who actually believe in the same philosophy that I put my work on. We use recycled fibers from old jeans. We've eliminated plastic bags. We use corn-made bags, so you can actually throw it in the organic compost.
I love that.
Yeah, and so it's a slow process, but one step at a time.
You're part of the change.
That's right. I can't do it overnight. I can't change our vehicles from gas to something green overnight, but we're making every effort. We're consciously building it one step at a time.
I love that. I love that. And I feel and hear your passion. So your outfit is Jude denim. Tell us about everything. Obviously, I've seen some of your pieces on your models and on through social media and your website. So tell us, for those out there who are not familiar with Jude denim, because right away I imagine that, okay, it's just jeans and perhaps men's jeans, but what else can we find that is Jude denim?
Yeah, right now it's men's. I did have a women's collection as well, but I kind of put that on the back burner because I really wanted to focus on men's. Women are a little more sophisticated. They require a lot of adaptation, and I thought I needed training with, getting my hands wet with men's before I concentrated on women's collection. But it's coming. By fall of 2025, we're going to be having a women's line. As far
Congratulations.
As far as the men's collection is concerned, it's traditional classic denim. It's great straight fits. All the denim is focused on making it absolutely sustainable. We're probably the cleanest jean on the planet. We use ozone gas, lasers, and a process called air washing, where we practically don't use any water. So,
and that's all intentional.
All intentional to make sure that we have a jean that is super clean and made responsibly.
I feel like your denim should be winning some awards for the work that you're doing in sustainability.
Well, there are a couple of others who are like me, but I'm pushing the limits with technology. We use lasers. A lot of people will use lasers superficially, but we use lasers extensively. So much so that we avoid using any bleach. To have a bleach-free jean is very tough. Very few can do it, and we're one of the few brands that can do jeans without using bleach.
That's amazing. So what can we see for Jude denim when it comes to men's pieces, other than the denim jeans? You do
we do tops.
Okay,
so,
is your blazer, like your t-shirt, what you're wearing?
So we do a lot of knits in Surrey.
Okay.
That was the easiest thing for me to start, to get people, train them, local people, start making luxury knit collection. So we do all of our knits are organic. They're knitwear that's focused, made in Canada, and they're garment washed, so they're durable, and they're very fair priced. And every dollar that goes to buying our product goes to paying a Canadian.
I love that. That's the fact that I love made in Canada, and you're hiring local individuals. It's being designed here and made here. I feel like a few times we've jumped onto Zoom calls.
Yeah.
I can tell you're, in the factory. You're there. You're working. You're rolling up the sleeves. So that's something I'm very passionate about, working with designers or talking to designers or highlighting them who are here locally, and they're doing the work and wanting to hire individuals locally to support our economy here in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's tough.
Of course,
it's
because the
easy.
dollar amount, because having something made here versus overseas.
And also people. This is a people-driven business.
Yeah.
Attracting the people back, the people who had the skill in the past, they kind of feel let down that, big factories or big producers had start out here, and then eventually they shut down and move to Asia for cheaper costs. I want to turn that around. I've worked all my life in Asia. You know, I've been producing a lot of goods in Asia. I still do for Bootlegger and for other brands. I still make product in Asia because of cost. But I want to bring that back. I want to bring a lot of it back and keep the luxury products made here, the artisan products. And training the staff to believe in it is something that keeps me occupied. You know.
Who would you say is, because when I go on your website it says Jude denim, it's luxury denim. Who would you say is a Jude denim man? Like when you imagine, you know, whether it's an athlete or an entrepreneur or an actor that you're like, that person is a Jude denim man.
Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, I mean, there's some other names that I would try to, you know, portray the image of who that persona is. Someone who's independent, who's fearless, is confident, and is not afraid to, you know, to make his statement or to express himself. What's Jude denim really? It's a gene that allows you to express your unique identity. It's not just another denim brand. You know, when you wear Jude denim, I want it to be such that you feel enhanced and you feel the ability to express your unique identity.
And you're seeing something when you're wearing, like, perhaps whether locally in Vancouver or across North America, knowing that you're supporting a local designer. I do feel there's something to be said about that. Like the dress I was wearing before, it's a Canadian designer, made here locally in Vancouver. And when I do wear those outfits, I feel extra pride because I know when I wear something like that, when I travel overseas to Paris for Fashion Week and whatnot, I love wearing Canadian designers and wearing outfits that are made in Canada, whether it's a gown or a dress or jewelry or even makeup. It's just that extra feeling of pride, of representation, and then especially when there is a message of sustainability and supporting our local economy, it just takes it to another level.
Absolutely. You need to understand that if buying local doesn't just mean supporting a local initiative. It actually means fostering talent. There's a lot of talent amongst us. And you need support for that. You need locals to support us so that we can expand that, because it's really tough when you're competing with mass market production from Asia. And I'm not against Asia. Of course, I want everyone to have their piece in this business. But there is something to be said about bringing that artistry out here and doing something very unique in this part of the world. And I think if locals can understand that their support can help grow this industry, that would be amazing.
Completely, very well said. Who would you say that you look up to or where you get your inspiration from when it comes to fashion?
I was always inspired by Christian Louboutin. His vision for making statements like the red sole on his shoe. I was always intrigued by how, you know, he caught on that. So there are a number of others that I get inspired with, but by and large, I am inspired by a lot of these icons that are able to see through the clutter and pick something really strong that resonates with the public.
And currently, I mean, we'll share information of how to get in touch with you, but Jude denim is carried out in several stores throughout Canada and expanding to the US, and your hopes are perhaps in the future to Europe as well, while maintaining the approach of sustainability and having, you know, craftsmanship and the work done here in the factories in Vancouver. How do you see that expansion?
So you mentioned about sustainability. Sustainability for me is not I don't want it to be a selling point. It is a necessity. If I can't make my product sustainable or manufactured in a responsible way that protects our world, I might as well not be in this business. My selling point is the artistry, creating something beautiful out of a black.
But there's so many people who don't think about that, right? Like obviously I hear your passion and your connection with the environment and with nature. I hear that.
Yeah.
I do feel like, you know, there's been news articles and videos that we've seen online without saying any names where if they make product, you know, either they're not paying their workers or they're not paying their workers, or you know the workers have to tie a little letter in the dress that it was made in, you know, this country or that country in Asia, or you know it's like child workers. Like there's just people working in,
Yeah,
you know,
I hear you.
in obscene conditions.
We are small enough to be able to micromanage. And that's the key with our kind of business. As an artisan brand, we have a clear exposure to the supply chain from fiber to finished garment. I can't do everything in Canada because of the limitations of technology, but I work in Los Angeles, I work in South America, I work in Turkey. So I work in countries that have an awareness of this problem that you just mentioned. I think from a point of view of ensuring that product is made fair, there has to be transparency of the entire supply chain. And when the business starts getting bigger, that's when things get lost and muddy. And also, for us, it's not how much we make, it's how we make it that matters. When it comes to corporate, I think their focus is how much to make as opposed to how they make it. That's where the compromise happens. So I'm mindful about that to make sure that never happens.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love your passion and connection with the environment. I love to ask everyone who joins us on the show, you know, if there's a particular trail, if there's a particular place they like to go to, whether you know it's in Surrey where you live or anywhere in BC that you find really calming. For me, it's like Spanish Banks area during the week when it's not busy. Doesn't matter if it's like summertime, raining, snow. I just love walking around there, looking at the mountains, at the water. Like yesterday, I jumped in the water and it just really, you know, we've been filming for the last couple of days. It really just like helps calm my nervous system because when you have, I love what I do. I get to have conversations and with innovators and leaders in industries like yourself, and you know, pick their brain and ask them about their stories, because when I have these conversations, they truly fill me up, and my hope is that they inspire our audience and highlight the individuals who are worthy of like having their stories told. However, I do need to replenish myself. So I do various things like yoga and other things and gym and being in nature. So is there like a place you like to go to that you'd like to share with us, with our audience?
So I'm fortunate enough to be able to live facing Golden Ears Park. So my backyard faces the mountains.
Beauty.
And it's surrounded by trees. So that's my sacred spot. But
you don't need to go camping. You're like, I got a spot right there. I have my tent out right over there. And then I go home to like make some food.
And the other thing is Lighthouse Park in
West Van.
Yeah, I love that spot. That's where I go to do a lot of, like once in a month, I'll visit there. Even in the winter time, sometimes I go there, depending on if there's snow and ice. But that's a place where I go to reflect. I get a lot of inspiration from just being with nature. I'm a fitness freak. The last 5 years, I got into this. I used to be almost 2 times my size.
No way.
Yes. And I lost a lot of weight by just being, persevering with the vision that I've got to be that fit to make those jeans. And I love it. Ever since I embarked on this journey, I love it. So I spend a lot of time running the woods in Surrey, and hiking North Van. So I think we've got heaven out here.
We truly do. And something you mentioned earlier is the fact that how you've traveled around the world, and I have as well. And whenever I'm walking either with my dog or even just yesterday, I was out at Spanish Banks, and I truly feel like I've spent a lot of time in Europe and Asia, a bit in Africa, North Africa, and in the US, but there's something so pure and beautiful that we have here. Like when I look at our mountains and our oceans, like it's just so magnificent and healing. And I don't think I truly admired the beauty that we had here in BC until I left and I came back. And I think like everyone else, like during COVID, that we started hiking and getting outdoors and doing the seawall and whatnot, and noticing how the impact on my nervous system when I'm hiking a mountain, when I'm up in Squamish or Pemberton or Whistler or whatever. It could just be North Shore, or just walking on the seawall, that when I'm listening to the waves or even listening to a podcast or audiobook and listening, to those waves crashing. And sometimes I would even walk when it's snowing because I know there wouldn't be many people out there. And it's just became a way of me releasing my day and releasing any kind of like heavy energy.
Absolutely. The kind of inspiration we can get in this part of the world is unparalleled. Once you asked me earlier about how did this all start, there were a couple of things that also, now that I recall, I worked a lot in Bangladesh in the past, producing for Marks of Warehouse, and I should travel there. So exposure to that part of the world gave me a very, very upsetting feeling. When I come back, I look at this and I look at that, and I vowed never to work there again. You will never find Jude denim ever being made in Bangladesh, simply because it's just not the right environment. And as much as the world wants to support Bangladesh with, with the quotas and giving them advantages to bring goods in, the wealth is really held between a very small percentage of people. And the mass market really suffers. If you visit Dhaka, it's kind of apocalyptic.
I've been to Dhaka when I was a kid, and I remember, thank you so much for sharing that. I remember it was a couple of years ago, I forget, it was a Canadian brand, I won't say their name, just in case they come after me, and, it made a big headlines, and I think a factory had either exploded or was on fire, and individuals passed away, sadly. And in the conditions, I remember when I was a kid, we were returning back to Pakistan from Turkey, from living in Cyprus, in Nicosia. And, we were there for like a couple of days. I was quite young, and I remember seeing children playing in the dirtiest, filthiest, I wouldn't even call it a pond because it was black. And there was garbage.
Yep.
And the kids were playing in that water. And as we were heading to the airport, someone tried to sell their child to my family.
Wow.
For 100 rupees.
Really?
Just poverty is so high, like the rate, and it's really, I remember, I'll never forget that scene. And it's just so many people, and you get foreigners coming in, they'll stay for a couple of days, whatever, on their way to somewhere else, and the people who live there and the conditions they live in, it's really heartbreaking.
Yeah, some of the brands here are really good. They want to help. Like, the work I did with marks. They want to help those countries, but it's tough when you look at you can't change everything. You can't change the whole system, and there's always stuff that goes on there that's beyond your control, right?
Completely.
So for Jude denim, I said that was it. I've pulled out of Asia as well. So all my production is, as much as I can, make it in North America,
Amazing.
and wherever I can that sounds more viable, conscientious, and something that gives back to people.
Well, I truly believe in what you're doing, Jude, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the show. I knew you'd make a great fit and to share your story. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a very busy man, and thank you all for taking the time to watch. If you felt inspired today, please do let us know. I love hearing from you. Until next time, I'm your host, Zara Durrani. You're watching On Location with Zara, produced with the support of Tell a Story Hive, and we'll share Jude's information if you want to get in touch with him or take a look at Jude Denim, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.